you want to get a shot of that. But greatest part of Christmas. So Christmas verses and New Year's verse. It is also in French, also in German. All right, so let me show you that. Now, here's a darling little card. We've taken a piece of the Feels Like Frost DSP, and just so I can show you, there's some framelits that go with it. Can you see that that's a little vellum? We've cut a sprig out, 1-inch real red ruched ribbon. For this card, we actually cut it in half. I cut it in half, and so you can see it's just angling up. So if I were going to turn this card into a card for more of a casual stamper, I would probably use the one of the label punches from the catalog. And I'll stamp this for you. So punch is less avid than a die. I'm using the French version of Thinking of You at Christmas Time. So I would replace the die image with a punch image, and I would remove the bow pieces. Then if you want to scale this back a little further and make it really simple for a beginner stamper, I would just cut a rectangle for the verse, not even use a punch unless you wanted to. And I would substitute that ruched ribbon with just a piece of real red cardstock underneath that. It's a really versatile set, so versatile that we made up several different samples. I think you're going to like this. So I can grab them all. Here's one with 12 paper. Here's one with Wrapped in Plaid. Here's one with Let It Snow. I'll leave these here so you can see them all. Here's one with Night Before Christmas. Here's one with Something, Something, Gather Together. And here's even one with, do you recognize this from Corey's presentation? This is Monster Bash, and we turned it into a Christmas card. So really, really versatile, fun set to use. I also brought the catalog sample. I'll put all these in the hospitality room. So you've got the snow globe, the base of the snow globe, a couple of greetings, and a fun little house to put in the greeting. Now this coordinates with some dies. So you only have that one house image to put in behind your snow globe, except in the dies. Let me just dump them out here. After you remove the base, the globe, and the intricate part of the base, you have the die that fits the house. But then look at all these other fun. You have the trees. You have a church that goes with a steeple. You have this is darling, a mama polar bear and a baby polar bear. And you have a stag to put underneath that snow globe. So in this one, here's how we tied in some other product. This is not using the snow globe piece, but we've used the 3 trees. We've punched them out of the Perennial Essence, so the vellum from the annual catalog, tie back to that. And you can't see it here, but that vellum, if you played with it, has a little bit of a shimmer. Then we also use the Proud Peacock foil for the other trees. And if you want to make this look a little less staged, like we did here, you use the trees in groups of 3s, but then you can also cut a tree or 2 off and move them around. We only used a portion of this greeting, the last 2 lines, so you get a little more mileage there. We cut the steeple out with the dies on shimmer paper, and then just put some gray granite ink over that, some twine, and then added these last. You will love these. These are called Snowflake Sequins. So I'll tell you what's in there. There are some little white snowflakes, some gray or some silver sequins, and some stars, some white stars. And then this ties back again to the annual catalog with vellum and white craft ink stamped on the vellum. You'll want to heat set that to use craft on vellum. So there's the first card without the snow globe for still scenes. So here's a catalog sample. You'll be able to look at more up close when you get to the hospitality room. All right, so let me show you the actual snow globe sample. Oh my word. shake that around a little. Super fun. So how do we get that dome? You can buy a package of the little plastic. Yes, that's awesome. Here in the catalog. So this is from the soak some and put it in. I'm going to take some, put it in. I need a third hand here. Put it in the corner of the baggie, like so. I'll try not to get glitter on your tabletop bin. Squeeze it down. Okay, before you do that, cut a teeny, teeny, tiny hole in the end of your bag. And then you can take that house, or whatever you're doing, and you can just pipe on little rows of snow, whatever you want. Now, one of the reasons you want to do this instead of just trying to spread it on is because if you're putting it over ink like on the tree or on the house, it'll make the ink bleed a little bit. So this helps you get a little bit more of a precise line when you're using the embossing paste. Okay, did I cover everything else together? So there's the 2 pieces of DSP. So I just glued the bottom half of that DSP on there. And the way you do that is you just center the snow globe piece over, glue it on, and then this has adhesive on both sides. So what you want to do is you want to pull off the main adhesive, which you can never do on stage. You can do it every time you rehearse, but you can never do it on stage. So you'll glue it here. So let me put it down. It sticks to your fingers, so that you have a, okay, so you're going to glue that part first, and then you'll turn it over and fill it. So the product that we're using is called Ice Stampin' Glitter. I don't actually have the picture with me. Ice Stampin' Glitter. You'll dump the glitter in here, put whatever you want in the globe, like the house or the stag, glue that on here, and then peel off this top piece. Peel that off. Turn this upside down so that your glitter doesn't get everywhere, and then you'll have it inside the shape. So we're excited about that. Here are a couple more samples. Here's one with the house again. Here's one with the glitter again with the whole globe. And here's the globe just flat. If you wanted to not put the dome and fill it, you can still stamp the dome. It's beautiful, just like that. I wanted to show you on this house, you probably noticed really quickly there's a little bit of dimension. So we did that with the shimmery embossing paste, again from the annual catalog, so you can tie it back to annual catalog.
Love it. Super versatile. I think going to be a really great seller and a great opportunity, and it allows you to actually do some things for a lot of different types of customers. So we're going to put that aside. We're going to start with something pretty simple here. We'll do simple stamping to make Brian proud because it is his birthday today. Yeah, just saying in case he doesn't want to tell you. Okay, so Granny Apple Green, I'm going to take the stamp and I'm just going to do a little bit of quick stamping here. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. We'll just play. And then watercolor pencils. So what I love here is this is really similar to the beginner brochure, like towards the back of that. One of the product offerings we talk about for beginning customers is actually with watercolor pencils because everybody can color. And it allows you to show a little bit of a technique. So you just take, well, I'll start with the lighter color. So we'll take the crushed curry and you actually just scribble a little bit. What this technique does is it doesn't use any of the water, but it's called crosshatch. It's really cool right now. And it allows you to not color like straight, so you can be kind of sloppy. Okay, so you do a little bit of crosshatch here. You can add a little bit of extra color. I'll do that with my Cajun Craze, a little bit more. And then you'll take your green and you'll just start doing the green. I always start with the lighter color first because it gives an opportunity to have a little bit more blended. If you see some of my other samples, it just looks like I have like a big red patch. It was a polka dot apple. Not so good, so I didn't bring it. Okay, so you do that. You can just add color. You just kind of keep layering that on pretty quick. So what I love about this for beginners too is really it's not intimidating, right? If they can stay in the lines, if they can scribble, it works. They can layer a little, can't really screw it up. You can go lighter or harder on the pressure, and it gives you a little bit of color in there. They blend pretty well. That was a little bit darker than I wanted, so we just color on top again. Okay, so we've got kind of that all going. I would stamp some stems on there, call that good. But when you do that, it will look like when you keep going. Okay? So just a really quick technique. Okay? Now, what I love about this too is then you actually could then take an aqua painter or something and do a little bit of blending so that you're showing them how to use the watercolor pencils in a different way. So you could do that with your apples. This one is really simple stamping straight on the card. This one is for those of us that really have a hard time just simple stamping and can't handle a non-layer. So you could do it on top. But just remember, when you've got somebody brand new, if they don't have to buy a full pack of cardstock to start and they're starting with no cards and envelopes, the stamp, and your watercolor pencils, they're still at about that $50 US price. Or a little less, and that's where you want them to be lower than that. You really want somebody's first test trend and all the rage. Then if you wanted to step it up a little and do something more for your casual stampers, what you could do is, here's what I love. So we'll show you, add the punch. So we'll still take that Granny Apple Green. We're going to take the half piece of the apple, stamp that, and then take a look. So this is the punch cuts out the full apple, and if you stamp it in the right place, you get the right amount. If you stamp it too far, you don't, but we'll just pretend like it worked. And then you'll take your snips, really, and you just cut that right there in half. Okay, so that's how you do that. And then you can do that same crosshatch technique. Add a little bit of DSP and some twine. Yeah, it's really cool. But it's nice for them to be able to see, because sometimes when they see the punch and it's not cut in half, sometimes people are like, well, how do you do the half? And so you just tell them to punch it, right? Cut it in half. Sell some scissors. Okay. Yeah, it's from our Come Together suite. Okay. I made it like this. It's a little bit bent because it's humid here, but I thought it would be good this way. So if you see me walking around Greece like this, I was just showing off the paper and I was hot. Okay, so really cool, and you can mix that. So I showed you some blue pumpkins already, and Brian's gonna kill me because my stuff's all over. But this uses the no-line watercolor technique. So this really is more for somebody that's avid, that just loves all of it, likes that detailed technique. And one difference here, so thing to note, is when you use your stem, you stamp it and place it one way for an apple and flip it for the pumpkin. Okay? That are really kind of a 2-inch strip here. Then you can slice that so it's the 8.5 by 11. A4, you can do the same thing. You just take half your paper, do a strip there, and then you stamp on it. So you would just randomly stamp your image, and because of time, I won't stamp it. You all know how to stamp. I've seen your stuff. Okay, so you do that. You cut it in half, and then you use a tag topper to do your punch, right? And you just create these cute little tags. Super simple. They've got really amazing stuff with them. So we'll show you all that fun stuff that you can see. But it makes it a really simple project and lets you highlight a couple of different things from the suite. Then kind of, you want to start doing things a little bit differently, you want to add some of this really great paper. Gosh, you're getting unstable. Okay, so we've got all of this. Okay, you'll see this if somebody ever gives you a catalog. So, love the paper, but not everybody celebrates Halloween the same in all of our markets. So don't think this is just for that. So I'm going to use this piece of paper, okay? And it's got all these really great frames and images, but there's a lot of like girls in here. So you just take that, cut them out, right? And then I love this saying in the stamp set that is so glad we're such cool friends. So you take another sheet of DSP, put it on the back, and then you just layer these cute. You want it there? You put it where you want it. Okay. So basically, on a piece of DSP, you just start placing these, right? And so you're creating kind of your own custom DSP, and you're using it for something other than Halloween, and that's one of the ornate dies, and a little bit of new holiday bling. Okay? All right. So we'll move that over. We still need another Halloween project. These are the dies. I know. Totally have to have those. And I showed them this way so that they weren't tied just to the suite because they're put in the Monster Bash suite, but they're so versatile. Okay, that's my timer. I gave myself a little extra time so that when it went off, I didn't have to run away. Okay, so this is the piece. So what I want to do is show you one other thing. Another cool thing in the suite there are some boxes that are pre-punched and scored for you. Okay, so this is what they look like. You're like, cool, black paper, that's awesome. Okay, but what it is it's a coffin.
Yes.
All right, super cute. Okay, so here's what you want to do. The coffins come together, they fold, they're super simple, and you can do them basic, but what you do is just trace and make a little bit of a pattern to do the top. Okay, so I just took a sheet of the DSP from that, and I traced the lid, right, trace the coffin, and so then you lay it out on your DSP. And if you do that, you can trace. If you are trying to maximize paper because it's you doing it for a class, you can fit 15 on one sheet. Okay, so it's about 4 inches, so you cut it in thirds, but you have to be pretty careful. And then the way you do that is you rotate this way, and you can get 5 across 3 rows. If you're worried about doing that because you'll cut too tight, you can do 5 across down here, 5 across up here, and then 2 in the middle, so you still get 12, all right? If it's your customer, you have them put it right in the middle. You trace it and have them buy more paper. All right? So then, to get the color on that, you just take that, you open up your ink pad, so this one's pumpkin pie and terracotta, again, some sponge daubers, and you just sponge your DSP. Okay, so this one used pumpkin pie on the top, and then it used a little bit of terracotta on the bottom, and you are good to go. Alright? Like that? So I think that you'll like that. I think your customers will love that. Again, not a fan of Halloween.
Specifically, because although it's part of a suite, I think this would be a great set for beginner stampers. I think that the images are crisp enough that they stand alone with a solid ink color, which lends to some simple stamping, and then of course it just goes up from there for your other customers. One thing, as you share this product with your teams, give them permission to simply stamp. I'm just going to take some of the ornament images. That was strategic. Actually, it wasn't. That's sheer happenstance, but... Uh-oh. What did I do? I know, it stamps ink. It's pretty impressive. I should just stop here if you've watched me stamp on stage before. So we are just going to, we would continue this down the card. Again, really simple and easy. And when you're done, is you shift, let me get this in the right order that I want to share it. It's a really easy simple stamping. My microphone fell. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm probably loud enough without it, but we'll continue. So then there's one, if you want to mix up the color, another solid color. And then here's this one right here. Can you see the little bit of shimmer on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is not embossed. That is a new ink. Corey talked about when we were naming the presentations, there was the Halloween one, which she quickly gobbled up. And then there was a Christmas one, and there was another one called Metallic Trends. And I said, Corey, I'm not going to say which one I want. I'm going to see which one I get because I'm the boy, so they're going to give me the Metallic Trends one, which is true. So we have Golden Glitz, Celestial Copper, and there's also a silver one that I don't have here with me. But they come in the ink and the ink refill as well. So a few more simple stamping. If you want to mix the colors, there's one of each right there. So that's in the gold. And then this one is in the copper. And if you want to stamp on something that's not white, you can get some colors like that. So all of these pretty easy, some stepped up from beginner stampers because there's a little more technique or a little more layers right there, but pretty simple. Now the second part of the suite, there's actually a bundle that features these two punches. They come together. So as you're interacting with your casual customers, you can sell the stamp set and the punches together. And of course, from the punches, you get a bunch of fun ornaments. So I have some in a few different colors here. And you can decorate your tree with these, which is fun. But we want to do something a little more technique-y. So I put a few drops of the Golden Glitz re-inker with some alcohol in spritzer right here. And when that dries, it's going to give you a little bit of a shimmer. Can you see it kind of? Awesome. If you layer those up and put them together, you can snip off the ends. You guys are going to make, I know we have a lot of punch artists out there, right? What does that look like now? Well, Brian, that looks like a petal. Okay, you guys are so good. I'm glad you guessed that. But when you're finished, so you can see, I've spritzed the whole card here. We've just layered on, and you have a little poinsettia on top. And then on the very top right there, in terms of metallic trends, we're going to dip back into the annual catalog for these gold faceted gems. And what I like about that is your customers are going to be really excited about the new catalog, but we also have an annual catalog that's not that old. So if you can have them tiptoe back into it for a little item like this, it's in terms of the color scheme we're approaching. So we have some blues and some greens. And then with the metallic trends, when you turn that over, beautiful, isn't it? And then you can partner that with these foil embellishments right here. And when you put those together, here's the perfect little neighbor gift for the holidays, or a downline gift, a really simple tag, just with a little bit of the DSP, a tiny bit of stamping, pretty easy. And then we have a little rhinestone right there that is from this new holiday rhinestone pack. But that's not all that's in the suite. We also have an embossing folder that some of you won yesterday. And so, if you, what I did is I went ahead and lined this with some of the copper ink, and then when it comes out of your machine, can you see on one side? Yeah. And then still you could use the outline right there on the other. And if you, for your avid customers, of course, who want to go all out, you can have a project like this. This also features the stars that are part of the suite. And the DSP that's on the back is actually from the Come Together DSP that Corey showed. So this is how the suites are talking to each other, so you can extend what your customers want, get them invested in Christmas, and then you can go back to this DSP that will extend beyond the autumn season right there. Ribbon that again has that metallic trend right on there. So if you were at the prize wheel with me yesterday, and I said this is one of my favorite things from the catalog, this is why. Can you see that when you put on the foil sheet right there? Yeah. How beautiful. And even if you just do it with basic cardstock, you get some really nice texture. Tip it this way. Great. It is two-step stamping, so you can see right here you have the background of the packages that are sort of faded, but then the second stamp you can add all the ribbon and embellishment. You can likewise decorate your tree. You have some images, and it has a coordinating die right there. So presents, a tag that can go across, and then the two different Christmas trees come with that. And then continuing the metallic trends, you have some card fronts that come in it, so some pre-cut card fronts that come in the pack. 3 different styles, 4 of each. There are some stickers. You getting that okay, Ben? Am I getting okay? Great. And then it comes with some 6x6 designer series paper that on one side you have some traditional greens and reds. And then when you turn it around, you again have these metallic elements. The medley also comes with some little stars and some tinsel ribbon. And then when you put them all together, you have a project like this, which ties it together. And then I have a couple smaller samples from the actual catalog that you can peek at. And some cute tabs. Okay, now the final stamp set I want to show is the Bells Are Ringing stamp set. And again, it's two-step stamping, so you can decorate your bells, so there's you can customize what that looks like. And this comes in a bundle as well with some dies. And the cool thing is that the dies will nestle, so if you do this on foil sheets, which you'll want to do because A, it's a metallic trend presentation that I'm talking about, but also because that looks amazing, you can see how they layer on each other like that. So you have some good layering that happens with that. So, a quick project idea. If you run one bell through your die cutting machine, I feel like I need some background paper. Oh, does Corey have anything I can forage from over here? It's fine, that's good. So there's one bell, 2 bell, go once and then twice and run them through together. You have some double bells. Then if you want to do a peekaboo card, you put something along the back, right? So maybe you do silver, or maybe you cut out a bell of silver, just so that people know there's 2 things happening. And then one of my favorite products from the catalog is this. And it is called something that I forgot. It's acetate, and it is... Hold for a second, I'm just going to consult my assistant. It's something that looks like this right here.
Oh, nice.
Now, one thing you want to do, of course, to get the best value for your customers is when you look at this stamp set, wherever it went, it looks pretty Christmassy, but if you can show your customers how the stamp set will extend beyond the holidays, they have another reason to use it. So this easily can transition into a wedding card.
Oh, nice.
So change the color palette, use an itty bitty greeting, something on occasion. You can use it beyond that. And then I will show you another sample. This one's from the catalog, and you have a New Year's card right there featuring that same set.